Hey guys, it's Kevin again. If you guys saw my last video, you know that I will now be reviewing musicals, not just classic musicals, but musicals in general that I feel people should watch, that I've seen before, and that I really enjoy. And starting with this movie, this is one of those movies where I haven't seen a single review for this movie. I looked on YouTube, not a single person has reviewed this movie except me, because I found out that I actually reviewed this movie a while ago, and my review is pretty terrible. I watched it. It's a pretty terrible review. And, I decided to review it again, and that movie is one of the most underrated, unappreciated movies of all time. That's considered one of the greatest flops in musical history, and I'll talk about why it's a big flop, but I love it, and that is the 1969 romantic comedy musical classic, Hello Dolly. Now, Hello Dolly is a film that I really didn't know too much about. I remember when I first watched it, I had just seen Barbra Streisand's other famous, most famous movie, Funny Girl, and I thought, okay, Hello Dolly cannot be better. For whatever reason, I liked Hello Dolly more. Do I still like Hello Dolly more? No, but I like it just as much as Funny Girl. In fact, Hello Dolly, in my opinion, is a masterpiece. I don't see why people dislike this movie. I'll get to why people dislike this movie. I'll get to why people think this movie's not good, why people don't really watch this movie, why no one really talks about it. I'll get to all that in a second, but the first thing I want to say about this movie is that it definitely does not deserve all the hate it gets. I think this is a fantastic movie. Rewatching it, it made me remember how much I loved it. It made me remember why I love this movie so much, and there's so many great things about this movie. But first, let's get to the plot of Hello Dolly. Basically, the plot of Hello Dolly focuses on this woman, Dolly Levi. She is this matchmaker that is coming back to New York City. She's been gone for a while, and that is because her husband died, and she left for a while, to grieve and everything. And she's still getting over that. However, she is in the middle of finding a match for this very narcissistic, very grumpy, banker. He's a millionaire, Horace Vandergelder, and he wants to marry this girl, Irene Malloy. That's who he wants to marry. However, she has intentions of marrying him with her, but eventually we realize that her intentions really include her marrying her marrying him with her. That's who she wants to marry, is she wants to marry him, but she's kind of unsure about him. There's also a subplot going on in the movie, which I'll get to, but that's basically a plot of Hello Dolly, and I think that's a great plot. I love that plot. I really enjoy the plot of the movie, and that's one of the things I love about the movie right off the bat, is the plot. It's a very fun plot, and right away you can tell this is going to be a very fun movie. The problem with this movie is that when it first came out, this movie came out in 1969, and the thing is, in that time period, people did not want this kind of musical. They didn't want a feel-good musical. They wanted something like Hair or Rocky Horror Picture Show. They wanted movies, because this was going on during the Vietnam War. They didn't want a movie that was something that was uplifting. They wanted something that gave them some sort of impacting message about the war or something. That's why movies like Cabaret are so famous and things like that. That's why this movie flopped so much. The other thing about this movie is that someone could say, well, $26 million is a lot for a movie. And yeah, it was the fourth highest grossing movie of 1969. The problem was that this movie cost $25 million to make, and that's why it was considered a flop, because it only made back $26 million of that, and that's why it was pretty much considered a flop, because it only made $1 more than this movie cost initially to make. So that's pretty crazy that it cost $25 million to make. I'll get to why. But I think it's the general reason why people don't like this movie, and they really should watch this movie. It definitely is not as bad as everyone says it is, and the acting in this movie is pretty fantastic. Now, let me say something. A lot of people complain about Barbra Streisand in this movie, saying she's too young, that she wasn't right for the part. Let me explain something. Barbra Streisand was not their first choice. They tried to get Carol Connor back for this movie. Carol Connor was the original Dolly Levi Carol Channing was the original Dolly Levi in the musical. The problem was they had seen her on screen in Thoroughly Modern Millie. She's not very good on the screen. They realized that she's not very good as a movie actress. They didn't really know what to do with her, and no one really liked her as a movie actress. So they got back Barbra Streisand, and I think she fits this part perfectly. I think she was fantastic in this role, and a lot of people say that she was, too, too young to play Dolly Levi, but I think it works perfectly. I think she fits perfectly in this role. I think she fit the role perfectly. She's so funny in this movie. There's so many things that she says in this movie that have me laughing hysterically. So many things about her. She's so, fast talking and but she's kind of the woman that gets things done. But the other thing I love about her character is that she's kind of unsure about what to do with marrying Horace. On one hand, she wants to, but on the other hand, she's still getting over the death of her husband, and she still, there are many times where she turns to him and thinks about, there are many times where she's talking to him and thinking, saying, would you really want me to do this? Would you really want me to be in that position? And I really like that about her. It really provides a lot of heart for the movie. Also, she tries to help every single person, and it shows that she's loved by everyone. And I think Barbra Streisand played that role perfectly. There's this one song where she has to hold this note out for so long before the parade passes by. She nails it perfectly. Her singing is amazing as usual, and she just did a fantastic job in this movie. She was absolutely fantastic. Walter Matthau plays Horace Vandergelder, and he was perfect in this role. His character, though, is not exactly likable. He's kind of a dick. He's kind of mean to he's kind of unreasonable to the people that work for him. He's not nice to them, and he kind of thinks of women as just people that will help you. That's what he thinks. He thinks of women that will give you jobs, women that will clean for you. He doesn't really think of a woman as he loves them. He thinks of a woman as someone that'll help him. So he's not really a likable character, but as the movie goes on, you see he does have a heart, and I think the chemistry between him and Barbra Streisand is great. Right away, he does not like Dolly, but she loves him, and you can tell that deep down he does really care about her, and I really like their relationship. I think it's one of the funniest parts of the movie. I think they are both very, very funny in the movie. I definitely enjoyed their chemistry, and they both were really, really great in the movie. I definitely enjoy both of them. So, they're really good. Michael Crawford in this movie, really want to talk about him. He is fantastic. One of the best parts of the movie by far. He has this subplot, Cornelius. Now, there are these two guys that work for Horace, Cornelius and Barnaby. They are dirt poor. They're not rich at all. Actually, no, they're not poor. They're middle class, but they're not rich, and they're kind of tired of being in this job because he never lets them leave. He never lets them do what they want. He never really pays them or anything. And they're sick of it. So they want to seek some sort of adventure. When they find out that Dolly's in town, she sets them up with the girl that Horace wants to marry, Irene Malloy, and she sets Barnaby up with this girl, Minnie Fay, and there's this great subplot where once they are together, they lie to them saying that they are rich and they'll give them all this money and things like that to impress them. And Dolly says this to them, and I think it's a very funny plot. It's very funny the way that's done, and I think they just handled it very, very well. They were both very funny in the movie. I didn't realize Michael Crawford was in this movie the first time I watched it. I think he was, even though it says it right here, Michael Crawford, I didn't even realize it. But I think he did a great job in this movie. He was very, very funny at points. He also has some great dramatic stuff as well. Because the thing about his character is that he wants to find love. He's, as he says, 29 and 3/4 years old. That's how he puts it. And he really wants to find love. He's tired of doing the same old stuff all the time. He really wants to find love, and you really want him to find love. You want his character to succeed. You want his character to get with Irene Malloy. You see the chemistry between them right away. But the other thing I like the movie does is it focuses on Irene Malloy's perspective as well. It shows what she thinks of him. And Marianne McAndrews, Irene Malloy, is fantastic. I think she's very good in this movie. She's very funny. She's beautiful as well. She has a beautiful singing voice. She was fantastic in the movie. One of the things I really like about her character is that she doesn't really care if you're middle class or not, and she suspects right away that he is rich. She suspects right away, and I think that's really great about her character. I thought she was very, very funny in the movie. E.J. Peeker as Minnie Fay was also great, and Danny Lawkin as Barnaby Tucker was also great as well. And then the last two people I'll talk about are Joyce Ames as Ermengarde. Now that is Horace's daughter, and there's this plot where he does not want her to marry this guy Ambrose because he does not feel that Ambrose is going to support her and give her, the money and all the stuff that comes with being a wife. He doesn't really feel that she should marry him, but they want to marry, so they have to find a way to marry and everything, but she does not want to elope. She wants to find a way to marry, and Dolly helps her along the way, and I really cared about their characters a lot. I thought their relationship was really good, and I thought it was very funny between them as well. Definitely really enjoyed that. Now, let's get to the directing in this movie. The director in this movie, I am so happy to direct this movie. This movie is directed by the one and only Gene Kelly. I'm sorry, but when I hear Gene Kelly, you have to applaud. Gene Kelly is one of the most just genius directors, genius dancers, genius actors, genius everything of all time. just in movie history. He is absolutely fantastic, and he did a great job directing this movie. This movie perfectly, you can tell what the tone is. He set the tone perfectly. It was just a fun movie, and I love that about the movie. I think it's a lot of fun to watch, and just, I absolutely love that. Definitely. I thought he did a great job directing it. The screenplay of this movie is so fun and witty and just so fun to watch. I mean, never is this movie ever boring. I was into it the entire time, and I absolutely love the screenplay. Just great screenplay. The music and songs and score to this movie is amazing. And also the choreography of this movie. But let's talk about the songs first. The songs are amazing to this movie. By far, though, the most impressive thing, there are a few things I want to talk about. First of all, the Before Parade Passes By is the song that closes the first act, that Dolly sings before the first act ends. And that's note that she has to hold in, as I said, is very hard, and I think she's amazing in that. There's so many great songs in this. There was one song that was actually added into this film called Just Leave Everything to Me, and I think it's really cool the way they did that song. I actually really enjoy that song. I think Barbra Streisand did a great job with that song, definitely. Barbra Streisand, by far, one of the greats of, one of the greatest talents in music, definitely. One of the greatest singers ever, still one of the greatest singers ever. I mean, she came out with an album several years ago, and I absolutely loved it. I think she did a great job with that album, and I think she is fantastic here as well. Still one of the greats, and just, you gotta love Barbra Streisand. She is amazing in this movie. But there are so many great songs in the movie, but by far the highlight of this movie is the Hello Dolly sequence, which is everywhere. Anytime you'll find a poster of this movie, this is what you will see, is the Hello Dolly sequence. It's such an impressive sequence. It's 7 minutes long. It's so well done. It's basically that. Here's the basic thing. The waiters are waiting for Dolly's arrival because most of the second act takes place in the Harmonia Gardens. Well, not most of it. There are a couple other scenes that move along, but a lot of it takes place in the Harmonia Gardens, where Barnaby, Cornelius, Irene Malloy, and Minnie Fay are going on a double date. Horace is going on a date with one of Dolly's friends, when really he's going on a date with Dolly herself, which she doesn't realize till later, which I find very funny. There are a bunch of dates going on there. But basically, the waiters find out that Dolly's in town. They want to give, she's like one of the most respected people there. And they start singing this whole song, the title song, Hello Dolly. It's such an impressive dance sequence. Louis Armstrong makes an appearance in the movie. He is absolutely fantastic as well. I think the way that scene is portrayed is just so fun. The choreography is great. We have to talk about the choreography in this movie. Some people said the choreography in this movie feels very cartoonish and feels like a cartoon at times. It does. And I think it's actually really fun because it really goes with the movie. It goes with the tone of the movie. And I think it's a lot of fun they do that. There's this one sequence where Dolly teaches Cornelius to dance. And it is one of the most impressive parts of the movie. It's such a fun dance sequence. Everyone starts to dance. Everyone starts to have fun dancing. And it's just so fun to watch. It's the second to last song of the first act, but it's such an impressive choreography. You can tell why this movie had so much to make because the cinematography in this movie, oh my god, it's amazing. The first 5 minutes of this movie is like a painting. They show this painting and then it turns into an actual movie. That's very impressive. What they do with the cinematography, just you feel like you're in that time period of the early 1800s in New York. It's perfectly done that way. I think the time period was perfect in this movie. I think the way they portrayed it was perfect, and I absolutely love the way they portrayed the time period. Definitely. They did a great job showing that. I loved showing the time period. The costume design in this movie is so good, and you can tell why it's so expensive to make. The editing in this movie is fantastic as well. It's only 148 minutes long, and it's not even that long, really. It moves by very quickly. There's a 2-minute intermission, which I actually like the movie does because it's more like a Broadway show that way. I like when movies have intermissions because it makes it feel more like a Broadway show, and I enjoy that definitely. It's 140 minutes long. I absolutely, think it moves perfectly. It never was boring for me. I was into it the whole time, and I absolutely loved it because of that. And now, really, I don't really think we need to talk about any spoilers or anything. But overall, guys, Hello Dolly is a fantastic movie that I highly recommend you guys check out. I know a lot of people do not like this movie. It has a 44% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't understand why. This movie is absolutely fantastic. I think it is to the equivalent of some of the classic Broadway musicals. It's one of my favorite movie musicals of all time. Highly recommend you guys check out this movie. It's such a fun movie with such great choreography, such great singing. I mean, seriously, everyone in this movie can sing. Everyone in this movie can dance. The finale of this movie is just, oh my god. the finale is so impressive. I watched it again. I watched it and just the finale is so great. If the movie leaves you with anything, it is happiness. It is the sense of love. It is just the movie is just so good. The finale's fantastic. The score is fantastic. Everything about this movie is fantastic. Highly recommend you check out Hello Dolly because it is a masterpiece. And that's basically my review of Hello Dolly. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry I didn't make videos yesterday, guys. I was sick with a cold. I'm still recovering. If I sound like I have laryngitis right now, I'm sorry. But my next video will be for my review of the season of Gallivant because it ends tonight. The season finale is tonight. And I'll review the entire season of Gallivant, what I think of the first season so far. Stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys in my next video for that. Okay, let me know what you guys think of Hello Dolly as well because I would really like to know. I'd like to talk more about Hello Dolly, what you guys think of it. Definitely that'd be interesting to see. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye.